On December 15th, Michael's Roscommon House in Belleville will be hosting a fundraiser for the Coughlin J Fund, a foundation that helps families tackle childhood cancer. Here to talk about the event is the restaurant's owner, Frank Dauksis. Frank, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you having us on.
So how did your restaurant get involved with the Coughlin J Fund?
Danielle McCartan from The Fan reached out to us a couple years back to get involved. She heard that we would do a lot of fundraisers here, and if we would be interested in helping out with such a great cause.
Now, can you walk us through the event and tell us what people can expect if they attend?
Yeah, sure. Well, Danielle McCartan's here. She usually does a pregame for the Giants game, which is on that day. It's a 1:00 game. She'll usually get some Giants Giants players here that are retired, which is pretty cool. A lot of Giants fans. We have a huge sports bar, huge following for the Giants here.
Are you aiming to get any particular players this year?
Yeah, she's got a couple in mind. I don't know which ones, but she always tries to get the best she can.
Now, I know you've hosted this event in the past. This is the third time. What's the turnout usually like, and how big of a turnout are you expecting this year on December 15th?
Always a packed house. We always fill the house up. It's for a great cause. 20% of our proceeds from that night go to the Coughlin J Fund. We raise a lot of money for it. Great event.
Now, originally it was supposed to be October, but it got pushed back to December 15th because of the World Series. Can you talk about the significance of December 15th?
Yeah, it just landed on December 15th when me and Danielle were talking that there's a game that day, and it happens to be my late dad's birthday. So, and I learned a lot of our fundraising and giving back to our community through him. So having it on his birthday is pretty significant to us.
Makes it all the more special. Now, since this is going to be a brunch, what can patrons expect as far as food and drink?
We have an extensive brunch menu, mimosas and Bloody Marys, and getting ready for kind of like a pregame tailgate party, getting ready for the Giant game that day.
Now, the restaurant has been in business for more than 40 years. You've held a lot of events there over that time. How does this event differ from the others?
This one is pretty close to my heart. My wife is a breast cancer survivor, so while this is for childhood cancer, it's still in the same neighborhood. So helping out any type of cancer fundraisers is very important to me. And the one that really touched me was how the Coughlin J Fund works. I have a few rental properties, and one of our rents got paid this year because one of my tenants' granddaughter is a member of the Coughlin J Fund. So it was, to see it all go back around is pretty cool.
It's fantastic, Frank. The event is December 15th at Michael's Roscommon House in Belleville. Be sure to stop by that day if you're headed to MetLife Stadium for the Giants game. Frank, thanks so much for taking the time this morning.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
And a quick side note, Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning have been selected as finalists for the 4th Annual Anthem Awards. The two were recognized for their efforts to support families facing childhood cancer through their charities. You can vote for them between now and October 31st. Head over to ONNJ.com for the latest news and sports anytime.
Hurry! Nothing has ever been handed to me. I've had to work for it. On the field and off the field. Kean worked with me, guided me, helped me climb higher to get where I belong, to change my life.
Hey, welcome to the team.
Cougars climb higher. Kean University.
Well, Don Perkins has coached the women's volleyball team at Kean University since 2009. His success over the past 15 years has just culminated in his 300th victory with a win over Hunter College. Don joins me now to talk about this recent milestone. Don, thanks so much for coming on this morning, and a big congratulations.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So when did you know volleyball was the sport you wanted to pursue, and how did it lead you to Kean University?
That's a long story. I don't know. I started out as a basketball player, but I ended up in volleyball. Playing as a player. And then a friend of mine called me one point and said, I'm going back to Syracuse, our alma mater. Would you like to take over my program? And I was like, well, what do you do? They'll pay you to coach college volleyball. And so I was it. And that path, I went to Mississippi State from there, and then ended up at Kean. And been 16 years now.
Fantastic. Now, I read that your teams have qualified for the postseason in each of the last 12 years. How are you guys performing this year, and who have been some of your standout players along the way?
Yeah, we've developed a bit of an identity as a middle hitter program, so each of the last 6 years we've had an All-American who was a middle hitter, and some of the New Jersey athletes in that line would be Sarah Ridgeway was a kid from Barnegat. And Kayla Thornton from Egg Harbor. So we've had some really good players. Kaylee Morrison is currently one of our middle hitters. She was an All-American last year. She's from Elizabeth. We've also had players from, other parts of the country, Illinois and California, that have held that position for us too. So, but that's kind of become a bit of our identity, and we've done really well with it.
What are some of the important matchups you have coming up on the schedule?
Every match is important when you're a coach, but yeah, we've got Rowan tomorrow night, and that's going to be a big one. It always is. And end of the year on election day, actually, we play Montclair State, and that's one of our big rivals, just across all sports. So it's always big to play them, whether the stakes are there or not. It's just a big game to play.
So let's talk about the milestone now. What was going through your mind when your team got the win against Hunter College and you secured that 300th victory?
I said this to a couple people. 200 was a conference championship game. So playing a non-conference game, whatever, was a little bit more low key. But what really it hit home for me a couple hours later. I heard from about 40 or 45 former players had reached out in one way or another to congratulate me. And at the end of the day, this is a people business, and whenever I get to hear from my former players, it's a good day. And that's the part that I really resonated with me, and I appreciated was just a chance to reconnect with all of them.
Well, let's expound on that. Like, what does this victory mean for you and all of the girls over the years who helped make this achievement possible?
Yeah, Kean's been fortunate. Before me, the previous coach was here, I think 20-something years, and of course I've been here 16 years now. So it's been a very stable program. The players who come in and the players who are here, I think, know what to expect. That's a big part of what's allowed us to be so successful over a long run. And and that stability, I think, allows us to get better players, and it kind of feeds onto itself. And makes us just a stronger, better program.
And Don, I ask this to every coach I interview. You teach them to be better athletes while they're in their uniforms. How do you teach these girls to be better people in the real world?
Yeah, a lot of it is unsaid. You try to do the right things, and what you model and what you do what you teach them on the court, and you hope it kind of carries over. And you'll draw some connections from the court to the classroom. From the court to the weight room or whatever, about living healthy and being good people and all that. By and large, looking at the players who've been here and what they've gone on to accomplish as alumni and mothers and wives and friends, I think, it's worked for the most part. There's certainly a number of alumni that we're really, really proud of. But it's not something that we explicitly when you're older, you're going to want to do this, or when you do this, you're going to want to do that. I mean, we're coaching them to pass a volleyball and hit a volleyball. But the hard work ethic, just the confidence, the health habits, I think, are things that we hope stay with them for a lifetime.
Don Perkins, head coach of women's volleyball at Kean University. Congrats again, my friend, and thanks so much for taking the time this morning.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Head over to ONNJ.com for the latest news and sports anytime.
Hurry! Nothing has ever been handed to me. I've had to work for it. On the field. And off the field. Kean worked with me. Guided me. helped me climb higher, to get where I belong, to change my life.
Hey, welcome to the team.
Cougars climb higher. Kean University.
Well, winter sports are fast approaching, and that means the student athletes at Kean University will soon be hitting the hardwood again. Their head coach, Mandy King, is entering her 13th season at the helm. We're excited to have her on this morning to talk about the upcoming season. Mandy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me today, and I can't wait to share with you more about our great young women.
This is our pleasure. So talk to me about how you first got into basketball and how it led you on a path towards Kean University.
Sure. I loved sports growing up. 3-sport athlete, but basketball was my passion. Not only the sport, but the people who play it. And I had Division I aspirations, and then my senior year, I ended up having I tore my ACL, my MCL, my medial meniscus, and I ended up going to a Division III school, the University of Southern Maine, and have spent just about the next 30 years in Division III coaching after playing. But the Division III experience was incredible. Got a chance to go to the Sweet 16 3 times and advance to the Final Four and lose the national championship game my senior year. And it was an incredible ride. And I've tried to, as moving into coaching, I've tried to emulate that experience and those values, and it's been a very fulfilling career. But yeah, the best thing that happened was after playing, I ended up getting a graduate assistant position at the College of New Jersey. So that was how I was introduced into the NJAC. And we won the conference championship, went to the Elite Eight, and then eventually ended up being a head coach at Washington and Lee University for 9 years, and then thankfully got the position at Kean opened up, and I thank God every day for it. So it's a very special place.
Now, I've toured that place a couple of times, and I have to say that your facilities and all the upgrades that have been done to it over the years make you guys look like a Division I school. You guys play your home games at Harwood Arena. How enjoyable is playing at that venue, and what's the atmosphere like during home games?
It's incredible. I think, our players, they make basketball look like the best game on earth. And I think, everybody wants to be part of something bigger than themselves. And our crowds, they play off of the passion and the energy, and they really are very respectful of how much our players love each other and how they put their body and soul on the line for Kean basketball. And it gives us an advantage to play in front of it. And, I think even just walking into the building on game day, the other sports teams will hype you up, and, they really embraced our program. And, I think we're able to play with our whole heart every single night because we give a lot of energy to them, and then they give it back to us. And we've had some awesome moments through the years.
And speaking of the players, who are some of your key players going into this season, and how different does the roster look from last year?
Sure. I think, everything's going to start and flow through our senior fifth year player, Brittany Graff, and captain. Our best players in our program have been the ones that have been here for 4 and 5 years. And there isn't a situation that she hasn't been through. And her heart and her motor will determine where we will go. This group has done just about everything except for win an NJAC tournament championship. And so that's the ultimate goal. But Britt knows that, we've got to really focus on the process first and try to enjoy the moment every day. The other person that's going to be very important for us is Riley Aarons. She's a sophomore, and we've compared her to Brianna Stewart, so she's going to have a great season. And coming off that Liberty Championship last night, I think we're pretty fired up about who's going to be our core. And then one person you haven't really heard a lot about is Madison Vaughn. She's a senior for us, and she's been playing behind some great centers, but it's time for her it's now her time, and I think she's going to have a breakout season. So we've got a great returning core group that understands what it takes to be successful in the NJAC. And then I think we're going to combine it with some great new talent and continue to build on the legacy that is Kean women's basketball.
And with that talent, which teams are you looking forward to playing this season?
Oh, I think we look forward to playing all of them. Our non-conference schedule is so tough. It really is built to break us down so that we can break through and get to that next level. And so we look forward to those challenges. Talk to me 2 weeks into the season, because usually we've been broken down pretty well and I'm regretting the decision about the scheduling. But, it exposes us early. We really find out who we are and then where we want to go from there. And then I think because our non-conference schedule has been so tough, we're ready for NJAC play. And I think that's why we've been able to win a regular season championship, and finish the top 3 over the last, I think it's been over the last 5 years.
And I looked at the schedule and I saw that the D3 Music City Classic takes place at the end of December. Can you talk about how that tournament works?
Sure, we're so excited. Every year we try to go to a tournament, either one that's close by or one that's a bigger trip like this one to Nashville. And then this is just we'll play 2 teams in Nashville, but we'll have a couple days around those 2 games, and to be able to have a little fun in the city, do some great team bonding. And I think those trips always make us closer. And we talk a lot about sisterhood and being able to trust our circle, and these trips enhance the student experience. And I think it continues to help us build trusting relationships and high standards. And, and I think it's our chemistry. I know everybody talks about culture, but I think we build an environment where everybody can do their best work and perform under pressure. And these trips really set the tone for that.
And lastly, Mandy, I asked this question to every Kean coach I've interviewed. I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but you teach them to be better athletes while they're in their uniforms. How do you teach them to be better people in the real world?
Sure. I think for us, it's always about building the character first, whether we're on the court or off the court. We don't ever believe that you're going to be able to outperform your character. So we talk about, how important it is that they respect each other as people first, and then as a player second. And then if you're that character is what is going to drive the process, is going to drive the behaviors, and then ultimately drive the results. But for us, it's not just about winning championships. It's about building a sisterhood that you can depend on for life. And because, you want a group of young women, or a group of women that you're going to be able to celebrate your great achievements with, but also be able to celebrate, academically. And then also, when things get hard, which they ultimately will, you've got a bunch of women that will have your back for life. And so, I think for us, character is going to drive everything that we do on and off the court. And that's how we live. We say it's our family versus their team. And that's what we try to do every day.
Sage advice and a great answer. Mandy, best of luck this season, and a big thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Head over to ONNJ.com for the latest news and sports anytime.